What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mountain Witch Tarot channel. I am your host, Sarah, and today we are talking about JD and Usha because apparently they are fighting. There is trouble in paradise. Now, recent gossip has surfaced that they got into a heated argument at a restaurant very, very recently, like in the last week or so. And people are saying that the couple was so mad that they were even taking it out on the wait staff and snapping at servers who came near the table. So there are other rumors indicating that trouble in paradise has surfaced in other public places. And so they're just, people who are seeing them have these family outings are taking to the internet to kind of be like, hey, they're fighting about stuff in public. It's kind of wild. Now, I want to credit the TikTok creator who originally, she's like the first source that I saw on this topic, and I don't want to steal her breaking story, so I'm going to credit her in the description. I'm not going to put her in my video because I don't know if she'd be comfortable with that, like having her likeness in a stranger's video. So I'm not gonna put her on the screen, but she will be linked in the description. I'll link to the video. So if you're on TikTok, you can go check it out. We are going to speculate today, though, on what that fight was about, if it's really even true at all, and why it's happening. Why are they constantly fighting every time people see them in public? Because there's a very specific reason that people are saying that they're hearing them argue over, a potential power shift. We'll get to that. This is all just speculation. We're just using tarot cards to snoop and pry today on JD Vance and his wife Usha. So let's see what we can get. The first question, are the rumors of the public fights true? And we've already got a jumper card that is saying, yeah, it's true. So, with the Five of Cups, interestingly enough, I have a feeling that this card is going to have a double meaning because I don't think it's just about trouble in paradise, if you know what I mean. The Devil card, the Hanged Man. It kind of looks like that, yes, not only are these rumors true, looks like JD here getting caught in 4K. Well, I don't know if anybody's got actual video of it. Somebody probably does. Because you know how people are with their cell phone cameras these days. These fights are legitimately happening. People really are seeing these fights. What specifically was the restaurant fight about? And we're going to pull 5 cards for this and see what we can get. Interesting. We've got the Emperor, so we've got a little sense of power. So we're starting off power, something to do with maybe JD and power. Just so happens, because that's our center card, it is falling under the 5 of Cups. And I apologize that you guys can't see the cards today. We're just mixing it up a little and just doing a quick at the desk reading. The next video or whatever, we'll go back to disembodied hands so you guys can see the cards. So we got the 7 of Pentacles, 5 of Swords. First thing that crosses my mind when I see these 3 cards together, and I'll hold these up so you guys can see them. JD, in these 3 cards, I think he's tired of waiting. I think there was a different plan when he was picked by the H Foundation to be Trump's running mate. There was a different plan on the table, and I think there was a different trajectory. That trajectory has gone off the rails, and I think at this point, JD is like, something's got to give. I'm not getting the fair end of the deal that I was supposed to get. We're ready to move forward with something. We've waited long enough. Something has to change soon. There's a change coming. I kind of get a vibe of this feeling of change. Somebody's getting ready to act on something and kind of shift things. That's the vibe I'm getting from that. Oh, okay. We got a jumper, and it is Trump presenting in his own reading of the King of Swords. He always shows up as the King of Swords because he likes to fancy himself a King of Swords. This is definitely a power struggle of waiting and then eventually just being like, it's time that we kind of rein this in and get this situation back on track, because it's not been on track for quite some time. And he is obviously off the rails. He's not playing by the rules. There could have been a situation where perhaps a certain orange blob agreed to a terms of service, like, oh yeah, you get me in, and then I will do what you want, and then I will step away, and then JD can do what you want. And it looks like maybe that didn't happen, if you are catching my drift. Okay. Let's see. Is there anything? I hate to keep going down this line because I feel like we've got a sort of... Let's ask this. The rumors that are kind of surfacing with the stories of these fights has a lot to do with people overhearing JD say things in regard to becoming president. Now, I hesitate to say that because it sounds unfounded. We don't have any proof. All we're going on here is hearsay. So this is all alleged. We're just speculating. These are just our opinions. But is that what the fight was about in the restaurant? Does it have anything to do with assuming presidential power? So we've got the Knight of Wands, and that is our rebel without a cause. There's a lot of aggression here. If you guys could see the cards, I wish you could see them right now. We've got, let me just hold these three up. There is this big energy of aggression starting to show over on the side of the reading with these three cards specifically. And this aggression is like, it's my turn. I'm the one who's supposed to be running the show. I'm supposed to be in the place of power, the seat of power, which incidentally, we have the seat of power right here. So it is kind of interesting that there is an energy of hostility coming out here. Let's see what else we get. Let's keep going. Let's get 2 more cards for the left side of the reading. King of Cups. Here we have the 8 of Pentacles. I think JD, yeah, this is like, he's been in this situation of like kind of an apprentice situation for so long. And I think that he was probably told initially, you're going to have more power than what he ended up having at this point in time. And I think he's getting to the point where there is a little bit of a struggle, to hold it together. But I think, these two cards together, like the meaning together is more about like, he's basically maintaining his composure. But he's getting to the point where he's not going to want to keep playing along and kind of drifting into, the abyss behind Trump, while Trump and Stephen Miller and whoever else, Elon at one point, do all the things and take all the credit and get all the power. And let's get 2 more cards here. What do we got? So we got the Chariot, we got the 8 of Swords coming out. He is very much feeling slighted about this. I think that this is definitely what these fights are about, but I wonder, because like, okay, obviously we're getting kind of a reiteration here, especially with the 2 last cards in the line. This is like, this tug of war of control and who gets to be front and center and who gets to like, be in charge and make the choices and make the decisions and all that. And JD is obviously feeling some type of negative way about it. And it really kind of looks like JD got duped. He's not getting the deal that he was promised because, you know, we've got like this situation of him basically being, I hate to just say like silenced, you know, he's trapped and he's silenced. Well, obviously by the picture on the card, but you know, it goes so much deeper than that. This is like him really getting slotted and taken advantage of. And perhaps there is a little sense here of him saying like, well, you know, the people in charge, the H Foundation, like, did they change their mind? Why are they like not correcting course? Knowing how involved the Heritage Foundation is in this whole thing and has been from the beginning, none of this has really been on the up and up. This has all been kind of like under the table. There's this whole thing here with like, you know, JD fighting his way out of the box. Like, he really got the shaft in this situation. Based on the agreement that they made before the election when he agreed to be Trump's running mate. So let's find out a little bit more, like from Usha's perspective, though. So why is she mad? Like, what is her contention with this situation? Ooh, Temperance. Death card. 10 of Pentacles. So, That is a heavy line of cards right there, those 3 cards. The Temperance card here, this is Usha. Now remember, our question here is, why is Usha mad? What is her contention? And here we have a card that literally means do the right thing when the opportunity arises with Temperance, okay? And then here we have, like with the 10 of Pentacles, you know, this is like all of the people involved in this situation and kind of just like the people around you for like a support system. So I think this is probably her way of saying, you know, use your actual talents, use your actual abilities, do this the right way and the fair way. And I think, you know, with the Death card coming up here, this is probably just the overall energy of like, you don't want to make a decision that's going to haunt you forever. You don't want to make a career-ending decision or like a permanent rash decision, something you can't take back. Like, it's the permanence of it. Is what I'm getting from the Death card in this situation. I just keep thinking like permanence. This is forever. Like, whatever you do in this situation, it's forever. So, wow. Okay, Usha has a conscience? Interesting. Let's get 3 more cards for this line regarding Usha's contention and what is causing the fights or what's going on in the fights. What's important to know about the fights that they're having in public. The 9 of Wands and the King of Wands. Sorry, trying to keep the glare off of it there. So again, I think this is a reiteration of what we saw in the first part of the line, is that there is a decision that has to be made in this situation. And I think she is reminding him of that. You know, that whatever decision you make here, whether it is just staying in place where you're at and doing what you are obligated to do and doing it, you know, in earnest with the best intentions, because again, they think that their intentions are good for whatever reason, you know, versus being like aggressive and, you know, kind of like indulging your narcissistic urges and things like that. I think she's just constantly telling him that he's being irrational and that he's going to most likely like bring hell down on the entire family's head if he doesn't have some decorum. And that makes a lot of sense, because I kind of get the feeling that JD is just kind of out of whack, out of balance. Like, I I don't think that he is someone who really has much self-awareness. I don't know. There's something about him that is just off, we'll say. Here's the $1,000,000 question. Is there any chance, any chance we'll see a divorce? That would be funny. I don't know how many times throughout history has there been a divorce. Like, and if you think about it, I mean, Melania's long gone. Guys, I'm telling you, read that book that her BFF wrote. She's been gone. She hasn't been there. She only shows up for paid appearances. But wouldn't it be funny if both JD and Trump become single men during their time in the White House? They had it coming. Hanging on for monetary purposes. They're hanging on. Yeah. I don't even need to draw another card. Honestly, this is the only one. It answers the question. They're not going to split up because they both, it's a mutually beneficial situation for both of them to hold on to the other, both for the exchange of money and the exchange for, you know, worldly possessions and status and power and appearances. And like, I don't even need another card. We'll draw two more, but I don't even need them because that one just came through really strongly. So here we have another Pentacles. We have the Six of Pentacles. And we have the Seven of Wands. So is there a chance they could get divorced? No, you know, I don't think so. Like, the Seven of Wands kind of threw me there for a second. But honestly, like, with these two cards specifically, trying to turn them to where there's not any glare. So this is like, how do I put this? This is basically being karmically obligated to your situation. Like, the law of karma dictating that you're having to put yourself out and kind of do more than what you really would prefer to do, what you really want to do, because of the return later on. Does that make sense? No, I would say despite the Seven of Wands being here and being kind of like a defensive fighting card and like aggression, I think it more so in relation to these two cards is probably indicating to us that they're going to hang on, but it's going to be a bumpy ride. So that's kind of what it's getting at there. It threw me for a second, and then I was like, oh, wait a second. Okay, I get this. This makes sense. So there is the spilled tea on JD and Usha. I think it's incredibly interesting. I cannot wait to see if anybody manages to capture footage of one of these arguments. I would love to hear a little bit of the argument and just see if we can kind of like get a little validation on this. So you can let me know in the comments what you think it's about, if you think the cards are right. Yeah, wow. Well, best of luck to JD and Usha. Love this for them. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't, give it a thumb anyway. It's free. Why not click a thumb? And if you enjoy political divination, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and stick around for more because I upload these videos all the time. And anyway, guys, I will see you all later. Hope you have a great rest of your week.